All right, and yes. We can start. Yeah. All right, so here's the 30 days to Easter, 21st day to Easter. So the first 9 days are over, you could say, or actually we're in the ninth day. So just to have our bookkeeping right in place, trying to get the most out of it, you could say, or realizing the most out of it. So anyway, today we have two things going on. One is the chapter a day, which is like a little bit of a meeting for the 30 days. Then we continue with the creative mind training, which is also very interesting today because it's actually hooked up to chapter 9 from the Course in Miracles, at least part of it. Because this is what I do with the chapters, like I take out a specific part that we bring into, like, okay, this is something. Let's take a look at this. How about that? So today that is then miracles versus magic, and that's also the theme in the creative mind training. Now, magic, you could say, like, okay, is that with witches and spells and wands and this and all that? Like, well, to a certain degree, it is certainly that. and it's not that we're going to do some abracadabra here, but you do a lot of abracadabra in your mind. And so that can be very helpful to take a look at. And so the abracadabra that you do is, for instance, to think that these things are actually helping you to see. And seeing has nothing to do with the eyes. Or you think that you think with your brain. It's like, no, the brain, if you know say the fundamentals of thought, you would know that the brain cannot do that at all. And then of course we have our whole circus, you could say, of medical interventions, surgeries, making parts of your body work again, and all this. This can surely be called magic too. Or what to think about a little fluid pushed in your veins to ward off diseases. Or a little pill put in your mouth and thinking that that's going to help you in some kind of way. And how does that actually work? Like, magical beliefs is something that you actually walk around with. The magical beliefs are like rampant in your dream. Rampant in the sense of you make use of it continuously. Imagine that you think, I'm just saying just a couple of examples, like imagine that you think that you have to eat in order to live. You do that? Right, yeah. I know you do. I eat too. It's like, but that's at the same time a denial of what really is. Like, I'm sustained by the love of God. It has nothing to do with anything else. Like, there's no opposite to the will of God. God created me perfectly. He's sustaining me in every step along the way. And apparently I have some, say, rebirth activity, or something really needs to happen for me to realize that what I'm thinking about this place or myself has not anything to do with reality. So that's why magic is, say, rampant, I could say. And so our whole thinking is basically based on magic, believing that you're in a certain place in a certain time, doing certain things, moving from A to B, thinking that there's such thing as distance, as separate parts, and all this. Like all magical beliefs, you could say. It's all magic that you use in your mind. And so in the undoing of that, we accept it for just a bit too, to have it being undone, at least on a moment by moment basis. Suddenly there's something else going on. You're actually able to let go of these magical beliefs for just a moment and say, come to the recognition, oh my God, I am sustained by the love of God. Not as a concept, but as your own experience of yourself. I am sustained by the love of God. Wow. Suddenly, suddenly there's a recognition of that. Suddenly you feel a relief and release of holding on to this place in order for your comfort and safety and sustenance and all of this. So suddenly that's possible. So the release of magical beliefs is really a big part of the training. You could say the big part of the training and what we do, recognizing, say, making it in fact consciously available for you that you're actually doing it. Otherwise you wouldn't even know. You would step right into it without realizing that it's magic. You can't avoid it as a human being. You could say, like, you can't avoid it in a three-dimensional way of thinking to use magic, because the whole setup is magical in that sense. So magic has nothing to do with reality. I said that. Magic has nothing to do with the will of God. Now that's really good to remember that too. So everything, we know this, like everything that you see, we call it mesmerism or illusory dream or hologram, or all of this is in fact not a reality. It's not a fact. No, it's a reflection of what you are valuing, what you are thinking about yourself. And you place yourself in that, scape, in that landscape. In that, at the same time, you feel this is not really where you belong. So that's, of course, already like a really interesting situation, to say the most. It's like very interesting. Now, what can we do about that? Like, what helps in order to see and realize what is really going on? So this has everything to do with your willingness to let go of your magical beliefs, or to let go of ideas that you think you need. In fact, it is this is what we call like rebirth. It is a necessity for you to be reborn. Like your consciousness needs to go through something in order to open up completely to to an alternative that is with you all the time. But it doesn't exist parallel to a world that you have made up. No, it's like it's one or the other. So you either value this world and have all the consequences of it. This world, I mean the three-dimensional idea in which you walk around with magical beliefs, or you say release that for a moment and come into a direct experience of your connectedness with the universe, seeing that it has nothing to do with your humanness, with your human relationships, with your human ideas about yourself. It has no relationship with it whatsoever. So, yeah, that makes it interesting. But that makes also, to me, it makes very clear where we find ourselves. So it's like whatever you think you need to do in order to prepare is in fact not bringing you there. So that makes it very interesting to practice this. So you see in for instance the daily lessons, it is continuously, it's not that. Let go of that idea. Let go of your ideas. Let these thoughts go by as the clouds in the sky. Like, try to connect with the light within, but not with thoughts or ideas about light. No, with the light within directly. Like, a part of your consciousness is in constant communication with God. That part we try to reach. Say all else can go. By your determination to see, that can be given to you. By your determination to want to experience from the bottom of your heart, you could say, from as your priority number one, you want to see, you want to experience peace instead of the turmoil and the aloneness and the depression and the who knows what you experience, as a complete alternative. So the idea of complete and totally, we saw this the other days too, is like totally is what this is about. It's total. It's not a little bit, it's not a measure of anything. No, it's total. It is either there or it's not in your consciousness. So that makes it it's kind of like black and white, but it's actually light. It is light. It is not black, and there's no such thing as darkness. Now, the interesting thing about darkness, that darkness and magic go really well together. We know this from fairy tales, right? We know fairy tales, and always there's the dark, whatever comes up to do a certain trick, and the dark, whatever. Now you associate darkness with that kind of powers, with something that frightens you, with scary things that pop up out of nowhere, with you name it. You have a whole repertoire of horrors, you could say. But in fact, darkness is you thinking in a three-dimensional way as a human being within the frame of reference of a human being is what darkness is. It's like it is all based on separation. It's all based on separate parts, separate identities, separate goals, separate conflict, war, loneliness, and all this. It's like all these are part of the idea of darkness. So now you see, like, the light can shine the darkness away. We know this as a concept. Now here we are. It's like the light literally shines away the darkness. What is that light? Your rebirth. It's your rebirth. You are reborn in light. Suddenly your consciousness opens up to the light within, and actually, where's the darkness? It's gone. Where's your human ideas about yourself? They're gone. Where's your world? It is gone. And it's like that. Yeah, that's exactly what that is. So that's good. So you see all these ideas, like darkness, for instance, an idea of darkness you have been walking around with forever, thinking that it's something scary, dark, and blah blah blah. No, it's your three-dimensional idea about yourself. That's scary. That is scary, because it gives you. In fact, you project ideas about yourself that you are separate. Now, how scary is that? And how untrue is that too? So in the release of fear, the release of this three-dimensional identity, the safety can come to you, like the safety will come up in you, the peace, experiences of peace and of connectedness will automatically be there, because the only thing that happens was that you invested and believed that your ideas about yourself were true, that they were fact, and that the things that you're seeing are fact too. And that is not so. So this is some basics in the warming up, you could say, in the warming up for this meeting. It's great to stand still for just a moment at some very basic principles, of very basic ideas. To say you cannot be too quick with releasing those ideas. It's like, you don't need them. When you are not afraid to let go of them, you will never miss them. It is like this. So that is the first part. Now, from chapter 9, I took some very basic lines out of it. But what I did too was including some extra, say, lessons, some lines from lessons from A Course in Miracles to support the ideas that are in fact in this part, say, miracles and magic. So that's another thing that we're going to look at, and I'm just considering, and this might be really nice to do just for now too, is listen to 7 minutes of the chapter of today, chapter 9, Magic and Miracles. Reconciled.
Sickness and perfection are irreconcilable. If God created you perfect, you are perfect. If you believe you can be sick, you have placed other gods before him. God is not at war with the god of sickness which you made, but you are. He is the symbol of willing against God, and you are afraid of him because he cannot be reconciled with God's will. If you attack him, you will make him real to you. But if you refuse to worship him, in whatever form he may appear to you, and wherever you think you see him, he will disappear into the nothingness out of which he was made.
Reality can dawn only in an unclouded mind. It is always there to be accepted, but its acceptance depends on your willingness to have it. To know reality must involve the willingness to judge unreality for what it is. This is the right use of selective perception. To overlook nothingness is merely to judge it correctly, and because of your ability to evaluate it truly, to let it go. Knowledge cannot dawn on a mind full of illusions, because truth and illusions are irreconcilable. Truth is whole and cannot be known by part of a mind.
The sonship cannot be perceived as partly sick, because to perceive it that way is not to perceive it at all. If the sonship is one, it is one in all respects. Oneness cannot be divided. If you perceive other gods, your mind is split, and you will not be able to limit the split, because the split is the sign that you have removed part of your mind from God's will, and this means that it is out of control. To be out of control is to be out of reason, and that mind does become unreasonable without reason. This is merely a matter of definition. By defining the mind wrongly, you perceive it as functioning wrongly.
God's laws will keep your minds at peace, because peace is his will, and his laws are established to uphold it. His are the laws of freedom, but yours are the laws of bondage. Since freedom and bondage are irreconcilable, their laws cannot be understood together. The laws of God work only for your good, and there are no other laws beside his. Everything else is merely lawless and therefore chaotic, but God himself has protected everything he created by his laws. Therefore, everything that's not under them does not exist.
Laws of chaos are meaningless by definition. Creation is perfectly lawful, and the chaotic is without meaning, because it is without God. You have given your peace to the gods you made, but they are not there to take it from you, and you are not able to give it to them. You are not free to give up freedom, but only to deny it. You cannot do what God did not intend, because what he did not intend does not happen. Your gods do not bring chaos. You are endowing them with chaos and accepting it of them.
All this has never been. Nothing but the laws of God has ever operated, and nothing except his will ever be. You were created through his laws and by his will, and the matter of your creation established you as creators. What you have made is so unworthy of you that you could hardly want it, if you were willing to see it as it is. You will see nothing at all, and your vision will automatically look beyond it, to what is in you and all around you. Reality cannot break through the obstructions you interpose, but it will envelop you completely when you let them go.
When you have experienced the protection of God, the making of idols becomes inconceivable. There are no strange images in the mind of God, and what is not in his mind cannot be in yours, because you are of one mind, and that mind belongs to him. It is yours because it belongs to him, for ownership is sharing to him. If it is so for him, it is so for you. His definitions are his laws, and by them he established the universe as what it is. No false gods you attempt to interpose between yourself and your reality affect truth at all. Peace is yours because God created you, and he created nothing else.
The miracle is the act of a Son of God who has laid aside all false gods, and who calls on his brothers to do likewise. It is an act of faith because it is the recognition that his brother can do it. It is a call to the Holy Spirit in his mind, a call to him which is strengthened by this joining. Because the miracle worker has heard him, he strengthens his voice in a sick brother by weakening his belief in sinlessness, which he does not share. The power of one mind can shine into another, because all the lamps of God were lit by the same spark. It is everywhere, and it is eternal. In many, only the spark remains, for the great rays are obscured. But God has kept the spark alive, so the rays can never be completely forgotten.
If you but see the little spark, you will learn of the greater light, for the rays are there unseen. Perceiving the spark will heal, but knowing the light will create. Yet in the returning, the little light must be acknowledged first. For the separation was a descent from magnitude to littleness, but the spark is still as pure as the great light, because it is the remaining call of creation. Put all your faith in it, and God himself will answer you.
Wow, that's so great to hear this. I love it. Wow. Wow. All right. Well, yeah. Where to continue? It's always like mind blowing to dive so deep in it. I love it. To hear it, to have it organized for you. It's like, here, look at this. Look at this. Oh my God. Well, there's not a word opposing another. Like, no, it's one thing. That's what I love about it. It's like the unity, the oneness is literally radiating from it. Here it is. All right, so this is a bit of chapter 9, like I said. The correction of error is the title. In the Urtext. In the blue book it is, let me check it out real quick. And it's the acceptance of the atonement. So here it says the correction of error, and in the blue book it says the acceptance of atonement. All right. So we're getting to some very basic ideas, but first I want to go here a little bit. So this is about the laws of God. There are no laws except the laws of God. We heard that. But this is coming from a lesson. So the lesson, I don't know exactly, I can check it out for you. There are no laws except the laws of God. This needs repeating over and over and over and over and over. There are no laws except the laws of God. There There are no laws except the laws of God. So there are no laws except the laws of God. Until you realize, now here it comes, talking about totality. Until you realize that it applies to everything that you have made in opposition to His will, you need to repeat this. There are no laws except the laws of God. Say, and you're going to see that there's no exception to it. Like, no, none of that. Not a little bit has happened as you say, think it does according to your laws. No, it does not. It is according to the laws of God. That is what happened. Nothing else happened. So your magic has no meaning. What it is meant to save does not exist. Only what it is meant to hide will save you. And this is a nice koan-like expression. What it is meant to save, your magic, right? Your magic has no meaning. What it is meant to save does not exist. So your protection and defense is really like what you're trying to save here does not exist. Only what it is meant to hide will save you. So that's great stuff. I love that. All magic is a form of reconciling the irreconcilable. All religion is the recognition that the irreconcilable cannot be reconciled. And religion in a very broad sense, I would say. Or the original pure sense of religion. Sickness and perfection are irreconcilable. We heard this in the talk too. Sickness and perfection are irreconcilable. If God created you perfect, you are perfect. There's not a little bit perfect. No, perfect is perfect. If you believe you can be sick, you have placed other gods before Him, right? So sickness and perfection are irreconcilable. You cannot unite them. They don't belong together. It is either one or the other. Like, if there's perfection, there cannot be sickness. If God created you perfect, you are perfect. You cannot be a little bit perfect. All right, so here is the answer to every problem that confronts you. And see, what confronts you, what you're trying to solve too. Every problem that you're trying to solve, today, tomorrow, throughout time. Here's the answer to every problem that confronts you. And when a problem confronts you, your mind engages automatically in trying to solve it. But not today. Here's the answer. So this is what you have been waiting for. Here's the answer to every problem that confronts you, today, tomorrow, and throughout time. In this world, you believe that you are sustained by everything but God. But your faith is placed in the most trivial and insane symbols. Pills, money, protective clothing, influence, prestige, being liked, for instance, knowing the right people, and an endless list of forms of nothingness which you have endowed with magical powers. There it is again. Your faith is placed in the most trivial and insane symbols. Pills, money, protective clothing, influence, prestige, being liked, and this is just a little bit of that endless list of forms of nothingness which you have endowed with magical powers. So it's like this is where you have invested in as a value for you, what you think makes you. So it's like the misidentification, literally in concreto. It's very practical. But here's the answer to all these problems that are coming at you. I am sustained by the love of God. I am sustained by the love of God. There is no substitute for the will of God. So I thought I'm keeping it really basic, very direct and basic, just because I love these expressions and they make something really clear. Now see the nuance coming back into applying this on a daily basis, that makes it different. So it's like you cannot try to figure this out to see how this can work for you. That's not what is being asked either. And now it's like there's an answer to all your problems. There's an answer to all the ways that you try to solve your problem, which was not very effective. Otherwise, you would not be here. I mean, here in this class, in this path of enlightenment, you would not be there. So apparently, it brought you straight into darkness, into the impossibility of a place that you think that you are. So that's great. I just love it. That is so clear, and I hope that is clear for you too, because it is like, it is not now that you know how to tackle your problems. No, you don't know. You still don't know how to do that. No, there's an answer to the problems. It's not that you're going to apply this to solve your problems. No. Like otherwise you step into another dream, a spiritual dream of problem solving, which would also be magical, endowing it with mystical magical powers, or whatever name you give it. That's being done so much, and it has nothing to do with anything. Like it's still applying your mind in the three-dimensional setup. Well, it still will not be real. That is as simple as that. So that's why there's the miracle. The miracle is the device that you use in recognition of your oneness with your brother, seeing that there's a way out of this. It's a momentary, say, moment of shift into invisibility is how it says in the miracle principles, and I love that term. It's like it's a shift into invisibility, a moment out of time, not ruled by the patterns of time, not ruled by time at all. It's literally you being lifted out of this. That is the only way that you can deal with the problems that are confronting you. Coming back to that, going in within, into your altar, you could say, your inner altar, releasing your ideas about yourself, allowing a rebirth to occur, coming into a whole different experience altogether, where you really let go of what you think you are, what you think was so valuable a moment ago, what you think your concerns are, what you think that God is. All of these ideas you leave behind. Now you enter into the alternative that is not trying to fit it into your three-dimensional way of thinking about yourself. No, this has nothing to do with that. So the result will also not be visible, you could say, in your three-dimensional world, and don't even look for it. There's no need to look for it, and you will discover why. So that's the practice, and that is what this book is for. It's like Course in Miracles. It is a course in miracles. It's not a course in trying to solve your problems in a spiritual way. No, not at all. It's not a self-help book. No, this is a relinquishment of self. It has nothing to do with your individual personality. It has nothing to do with any of your ideas. This is a way out of the whole construct. It's a way to wake up. It's a way to, say, recognize the enlightenment of your being, not of your personality. Your personality will not be enlightened. I'm sorry. Yeah, no, it is absolutely ego deflating. The personality does not matter. That's why this works universally. For everyone it works. If you allow that to happen to you, you see that you're free of your personality, but that you are a whole part and will still be yourself. You're a whole part of God. Now, this is basic miracles versus magic. Like the magic would be, I try to solve it in this world. I'm using some special power to make my problems go away. Like I have a nice abracadabra I can use to resolve my problem. And suddenly, whambo, there's the brand new Mercedes, or the fixed hand, or suddenly there's the beautiful face, or finally my solar my twin flame finally walks in the door. And more of these fairy tales that you keep wishing for in your little wishing well. So here see, we're getting into a fairy tale kind of setup here. It's interesting. See, just with ideas about magic. And see, we love a good magical story. We love the fables and all these little stories about something impossible that happened that saved someone. You love to be the one of that, So it's like, yeah, that would be a good one for your personality. No. So all these, attempts, we saw this the other day too, all the attempts to excel are going to be turned into equality. It's like there's an equality, which is really cool. I mean, the love for your brother, you realize, is actually a recognition as one. By you realizing that your brother is whole and perfect, you finally can see your own perfection. It literally comes back to you, recognizing that. In that recognition, a miracle takes place. It's literally like you're being lifted out of this and recognizing that you're one with your brother, recognizing the perfection and your connectedness with Source at the same time. That's not a fairy tale. That's a miracle. So, and that is your healing miracle. You could say that is your healing consciousness that you carry with you. So here you walk around in your dream trying to fix it with your magical spells and all this. Or you want a real solution. Say releasing your identity, allowing something to occur in the recognition of your brothers. Like you throw away, you could say you throw away your judgment about your brother. Suddenly you realize that he is actually your savior. And in that, you both become glad and happy. And whatever the difference was a moment ago completely dissolves into the recognition of oneness. So, yeah, that's the real deal. And I'm happy to share that with you, of course. It's like, absolutely. So is that taking place now? Yes, that's taking place now. Is there something else taking place too? No. Is my presence important in this? Oh yeah, absolutely. Totally. If you are not present, who is? You cannot send a representative. Now this is all about you. So thank you for your presence. And I'm going to play some music, and then we switch slowly but certainly into our creative mind training program, and see what happens there with magic versus miracles. All right, thank you so much for your attention. And yeah, like I said, we continue on with some music and then see what happens. Thank you so much.